So now here in software we have Lab Spec 5. Double click to launch the software. Once you move the mouse, you will see that the software will now initialize the CCD. Flips through the screen there very quick. Now when you open the software here, you will look down in this corner here where it says -69. This is your CCD temperature. If this does not read -69, the CCD is not ready to be used. So going across things here in the bottom, first we have our laser selector in the bottom left-hand corner of the software. The laser selector has two options, either 532 or 785. The selection between the lasers is automatically controlled. The notch filters will automatically move, and the laser mirrors will automatically move to select the appropriate laser. Next over, we have a neutral density filter wheel. Neutral density filter wheel contains 6 neutral density filters. 0.3, 0.6, then 1, 2, 3, and 4. 0.3 will cut the laser power by a factor of 2. 0.6 cuts the laser power by a factor of 4. D1 cuts it by a factor of 10. D2, factor of 100. D3, factor of 1,000. D4, factor of 10,000. When working with unknown samples that are either very expensive, very fragile, hard to come by, etc., we always recommend that you start working first with a D4 filter to try to acquire data, and then work backwards through the filters from there. Because if you start with an expensive sample and start with no filter, the chances of you burning a hole in it are very high. Next over, we have our confocal hole. The confocal hole will control both the axial and spectral resolution simultaneously. Within the confocal hole icon, there are 3 little icons in there, an arrow pointing to the left, an arrow pointing to the right, and an initialization little lightning bolt. The left arrow says 0, you click on it, brings the hole to 0. The right arrow says maximum, you click on it, it brings the hole to maximum, which is 1,000 microns. In this particular system, because it is a Viz UV system, once you pass about 250 microns of the confocal hole, the microscope ceases to no longer be a confocal microscope, because the confocal hole is open so wide it no longer has any effect on your data. So we always recommend that you use the system at 200 or below. If you have to go above 200 to get data, you probably have some other issue with your system. So left arrow goes to 0, right to maximum, and the little lightning bolt is an initialization just in case you're not sure if it's working right. When you click on it, it'll bring the confocal hole to the 0 stop switch and then back to where it was. Next over is our spectrometer. The left arrow on the spectrometer will bring us to 0. What you can see takes some time with the high groove grading. The right arrow in the spectrometer will bring you to maximum, or end of the drive limit. I do not recommend that you click on this. I recommend you just leave it alone, because it will go to the end fine, but there's always a slim chance that you can get stuck at the end of the drive, and you will not be happy, so do not click on this. And then also in the spectrometer, it's its own initialization icon also. If the spectrometer, you think it is not working right, I recommend you just click on the left arrow, go to 0, and then retype in the number. I don't recommend using the initialization icon only because it takes too long. Next over is our gratings. The system is equipped with 2 gratings, an 1800 groove grating and a 300 groove grating. The 1800 groove grating will give you 6 times better spectral resolution than the 300 groove grating, but it will only give you 1/6 of the viewable spectral range in a single shot that you can get compared to the 300 groove grating. Whereas if you use the 300 groove grating, you will get 1/6 of the spectral resolution that you would be able to achieve with the 1800 groove grating, but you'll be able to see 6 times as much spectral range. So usually if you have an unknown sample, you would use a 300 groove grating to look around and see what is there and find your area of interest. And then once you look at your data and find the areas that you like, that's when you would switch to your 1800 groove grating to get a better resolution and, separate and resolve your data peaks. Below this is our microscope objective selector. This is still a standard microscope. You must change the objectives manually by hand, but it's always important in the software that you select the appropriate objective that you are using. This is for several reasons. One, because the scale that will be on your video image will be the scale according to which objective is selected in the software. The scale does not know what objective is selected on your microscope turret. So you always must make sure you have the right objective selected. When you click on one, the software will tell you to please select that objective and will give you a warning to let you know to change to that objective. The second reason to make sure that you have the correct objective selected is because the objective that is used will be saved in the information window with your data. So 2 years from now, when you pull your data back out and you want to reproduce your experiment, if you have the wrong objective selected, it'll store the wrong objective with your data, and you'll be trying to copy your experiment with the wrong objective. Down below is our data tag name. Any name that you put in here will automatically be attached to your data when you acquire. You can see here on top of data now it says silicon-10. Next over is our acquisition icons. So we have 3 different boxes for acquisition time that work with 2 different acquisition icons. The top box is the time setting for the RTD exposure, or the little blue wheel icon that is all the way up top in the center, labeled as Spectrum RTD. The Spectrum RTD is mainly used to help you focus and increase your signal. When you click on this Spectrum RTD, which stands for real-time display, this will go indefinitely and will not stop. It will keep going until you physically come in the corner and tell this instrument to stop collecting data. Also with the RTD, if you keep using the RTD, every time you click on it, it does not overlay the data. It will delete the original data and only show the new data. So it will always overwrite the previous RTD data. If you wish to do multiple spectra and keep all of the data, you must use the little piggy called Spectrum Acquisition. When you click on the little piggy, he will do 2 things. He will look first in the multi-window icon to see if that is turned on. If that is not turned on, then he looks down at the bottom here under acquisition time. The other 2 boxes are for control of the little piggy. The middle box is exposure time, which this one says 1 second, and the bottom box is number of accumulations. So right now if I click on the piggy, it will take a 1 second, one-time accumulation, and then automatically stops by itself. And then every other time I click on the piggy, it will not delete the data. It'll keep writing over the data and keep saving more and more data files on top of each other. As you can see, the 4 data files here now in the corner of the Spectrum window. Whereas the RTD will delete the old data and just write new data. Next over is our XYZ coordinates. So these just tell you the position of where the stage is at. Also, if you notice at the bottom, there's a little box here marked ICS. This is for an instrument correction response. The system is equipped with 2 edge filters. The materials in the edge filters actually make a little ripple in the data. So the instrument has been trained to know what these look like and will actually remove them out of your data for you automatically. If ever you see that the ICS icon is not there at the bottom, it means someone has turned this feature off, and your data will most likely have lots of little bumps and ripples in it, which you can always save your data and manually subtract the ICS data from it.